The automatic doors of Fresh Mart supermarket slid open with a soft swoosh as a man in a plain hoodie and faded jeans stepped inside. Nobody paid much attention to him. He looked like any other customer, carrying a reusable grocery bag and adjusting the baseball cap pulled low over his eyes. But this was no ordinary customer. It was David Turner, the CEO of Fresh Mart, one of the fastest-growing grocery chains in the country. Today, he wasn't David the businessman. Today, he was just Dave, a middle-aged man pretending to be looking for a part-time job. For weeks, he had been planning this undercover visit. Sales were up, profits were steady, but something had been nagging at him. He kept hearing whispers, employees were overworked, managers were cutting corners, and morale was dropping. On paper, everything looked fine. But David knew numbers could hide the truth. To understand what was really happening inside his stores, he needed to walk among his employees unseen. That's why he now stood at aisle 3, pushing an empty cart, blending into the crowd. As he made his way to the checkout counters, one employee instantly caught his eye. She couldn't have been older than 20. Her name tag read Emily. She had her hair pulled back in a messy bun, and though she smiled at each customer, David noticed something unusual. Her right arm was wrapped tightly in a cast. At first, he thought maybe she had just returned from leave, but then he noticed something else. She was scanning groceries, lifting heavy items, bagging them, all with one hand. And not just slowly or clumsily, she was fast, efficient, determined. A middle-aged customer frowned at her. "Can't you hurry up? I don't have all day." David braced for hesitation. Instead, Emily flashed an apologetic smile and said softly, "Sorry, sir. I'll do my best. Thank you for being patient." Then, using her good hand, she pushed a gallon of milk across the scanner with surprising skill, bagged the groceries neatly, and handed the man his receipt. The customer grumbled but walked away. David's heart tightened. Why is she working like this with a broken arm? Why hasn't management given her time off? He decided to find out. The next morning, dressed as Dave, he showed up at the store's back office, pretending to apply for an entry-level stocking job. He was paired with Emily during her shift. It gave him the perfect chance to observe her closely. "Rough week?" David asked casually, nodding toward her cast. Emily laughed, though her eyes looked tired. "Rough month, actually. I tripped on the stairs at home, broke it clean. Doctor told me to rest, but I can't afford time off. Rent won't wait. Bills won't wait." David frowned. "Doesn't the company give you medical leave?" She lowered her voice. "They do. But unpaid. I'm already behind. If I stop working, I lose my apartment. So I told my manager I'd work through it. He wasn't happy, but I begged him to let me stay. I can't lose this job." Her words stung. This wasn't how employees should feel. This wasn't the company culture David thought he had built. Later that day, he saw something that shook him even more. A young mother came through Emily's checkout line, clearly struggling. She had 2 toddlers clinging to her legs and a cart half full of groceries. When the cashier scanned the total, over $80, the mother froze. She pulled out a small wallet, counted the bills twice, and her face paled. I'm short," she whispered. "Can you take off the cereal and the juice?" The toddlers began to cry. One of them tugged at the juice bottle, repeating, "Mommy, juice, juice." The mother looked helpless. Before David could react, Emily gently leaned forward. "It's okay, ma'am. Don't worry." She glanced quickly around, then discreetly pulled a $20 bill from her own apron pocket and slipped it into the register. "You're covered," she whispered. "Take everything." The woman's eyes widened. "No, I can't, please," Emily insisted, her smile unwavering. "It's my treat. Just take care of your kids." The mother's eyes filled with tears. She mouthed thank you over and over as she wheeled the cart away. David stood frozen. This girl is barely managing her own life, working with one arm, struggling to pay rent, and she's still giving away her own money to help strangers? He felt ashamed. Ashamed that he, the multimillionaire owner of the supermarket, had never sacrificed even a fraction of what she just had. The following week, David continued working undercover. The more he saw, the more the truth unraveled. He noticed the store manager often barked at employees, rushing them, threatening to cut hours if they couldn't keep up. He saw workers skipping breaks to meet impossible targets. And through it all, Emily kept smiling, encouraging her coworkers, stepping in whenever someone needed help. despite the pain etched in her face whenever she lifted something heavy. One night, when the store finally closed, David found her sitting in the break room, massaging her injured arm with her good hand. He decided to dig deeper. "Why do you keep pushing yourself like this?" he asked softly. Emily shrugged. "Because people rely on me. My mom's sick. She can't work anymore. I help pay for her medication. And my younger brother, he's still in school. If I quit, we'll have nothing." She paused, her eyes glistening. "Sometimes I wish someone would see how hard it is. But life doesn't slow down, right? You just keep going." David had to excuse himself. He stepped into the restroom, splashed water on his face, and stared into the mirror. He couldn't believe how far removed he had become from the struggles of his own employees. The Undercover program was supposed to last 2 weeks. On the final day, the company scheduled a mystery staff meeting. Employees thought it was about new store policies. None of them knew the truth. That David Turner, their CEO, was about to reveal himself. The staff gathered in the break room. Emily stood near the back, tired but still smiling. The manager crossed his arms, clearly impatient. Then, David walked to the front. This time, he wasn't wearing the hoodie or cap. He was in a sharp suit, his true self revealed. Gasps rippled across the room. The employees recognized him instantly. "Good afternoon," David began, his voice steady. "I know this is a shock. For the past 2 weeks, I've been here among you, stocking shelves, bagging groceries, even working the registers. I came undercover because I wanted to see the truth. And what I found," he paused, scanning the room. His gaze landed on Emily. "Both broke my heart and inspired me." The manager shifted uncomfortably. David continued, "I saw employees overworked. I saw policies failing the very people who make this company possible. And I saw one young woman, working with a broken arm, still showing more dedication, compassion, and humanity than anyone I've ever met in my entire career." Emily's face flushed red. She looked down at her shoes. David walked toward her. "Emily, you represent everything this company should stand for. You work through pain, you help strangers even when you're struggling yourself, and you never stop caring. You don't deserve to be left behind. You deserve to be lifted up." The room fell silent. Then David said the words that changed everything. "Starting today, your medical expenses will be fully covered by the company. You will receive paid leave until your arm is fully healed. And when you're ready, I'd like to offer you a new position, assistant to our regional training manager. Because employees like you should be leading, teaching others what true dedication means." Emily's eyes widened. She shook her head, stunned. I don't know what to say." Tears rolled down her cheeks as the entire staff erupted into applause. But David wasn't done. "To everyone here," he said, raising his voice, "policies will change starting now. No more unpaid medical leave. No more skipping breaks. You are not just employees. You are the backbone of Fresh Mart. And it's time this company treated you that way." The manager, pale and sweating, tried to speak, but David cut him off. "And as for leadership, those who mistreat staff will no longer have a place here. Effective immediately, we'll be restructuring management to ensure respect and dignity come first." The room buzzed with whispers and cheers. David looked back at Emily, who was still trembling with shock. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "You reminded me why I started this company in the first place. Not for profits. Not for numbers. For people. Thank you." For the first time in weeks, Emily allowed herself to truly smile. A smile not forced by circumstance, but born from relief, gratitude, and hope. And in that small break room, surrounded by stunned employees and the quiet hum of fluorescent lights, a single act of kindness had grown into something far greater, an awakening.